Hi, everybody. Hi, how are you, Robert? Okay, so welcome. Today is May 13th, 2026, and I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Camino Real Regional Mobility Authority Board of Directors. It is 9:03 a.m. Raymond, will you do roll call, please, and let me know if there are any public comments?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Ms. Wilson?
Here.
Mr. McElroy? Mr. Lindner? Ms. Avalos?
Here.
Ms. Ortega? And Mr. Palacios. We do have a quorum. Ms. Bettis is out today. And there are no public comments received.
Comments? Okay, thank you. Next, then I'll move to item 2, adoption of the minutes.
I'll move to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving to item 3, presentation, discussion, and action on board resolutions authorizing the execution of the following instruments as they relate to the Fabens Airport Fuel Farm project. A, construction contract with Jordan Foster LLC. B, change order number 1 with Jordan Foster LLC. And C, work order authorization number 5 with HNTB Corporation.
Okay. Good morning. Raymond Tejas, Executive Director of the Camino Real Regional Mobility Authority. And as read into the record, we're talking about the Fabens Airport Fuel Farm project. And you may recall we've been to the board on this one before. We came to you all back in December when we opened the bids for this one. So by way of background, the intent behind this project is to improve the fuel capacity at the Fabens Airport for El Paso County. Currently, there's an existing tank out there, a single tank with AV gas. And the intent of this project was to remove that tank, replace it with a larger AV gas tank, and then in addition to that, add a new tank of Jet A fuel, plus add the ability to handle self-service fueling option. So that was the intent. The project went out back in late 2025. The bids were open in December of 2025. And as I mentioned, we came to you all at that time to award. However, you may also recall that the bids came in higher than the project funds that were available. So the board authorized the staff to go out and negotiate a construction contract and remove some scope so that we could fit within the existing project budget. So that's why we're here back with you today. We've got the construction contract before you, as you see, for the original bid amount. And then we have change order number 1 that we're asking for authorization to execute. And that reduces the total contract amount by $385,000 roughly. And so essentially what we're doing through this change order is leaving the original AV gas tank in place, and that will continue in use. And then we'll add the Jet A gas tank as well. So essentially we're removing the new AV gas tank. So that's essentially what we're doing. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, under item 3A, you've got the construction contract with the low bidder, which is Jordan Foster. You've got the change order number 1 with Jordan Foster to remove those scope items that we discussed. And then you've got work authorization number 5 with HNTB, who serves as our general engineering consultant team, and they'll serve as construction engineering and inspection provider and essentially construction management for this project. So again, happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I would recommend approval.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
So we have a motion and second. Any other discussion? If not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item 4, presentation, discussion, and action on board resolutions authorizing the award of the Canutillo Improvements First Street project to the lowest responsible bidder and the execution of the following instruments. A, amendment to the interlocal agreement with El Paso County. B, interlocal agreement with El Paso Water Utilities Public Services Board. C, construction contract with the lowest responsible bidder. D, amendments number 4 and 5 to work authorization number 2 with ACOM Technical Services, Inc. And E, amendment to work authorization number 45 with Atkins Realis USA, Inc.
Okay, thank you. We do have a PowerPoint for you today on this one. This is another good procurement that we're looking to wrap up here. As mentioned, this is the Canutillo Improvements project. This is on First Street. And so this is the usual agenda that you see with our procurements. So here's some project details. This is also part of your backup. Should you have any questions, you can feel free to give me a call. This one was let back in April. This construction project, the budget for this one includes funds from El Paso County, the state. There's a grant program that they're using, the Colonia Border Grant for this one, and El Paso Water as well, because they have some additional work that we're providing for them. We've got some interlocal agreements that you'll see here that allows the RMA to serve as a construction manager for this project. And the original design for this one was actually completed by Ecom Technical Services through our IDC program, and will be managed. The construction management will be provided by Atkins through our GEC program. This is a visual to show you the location. This is out in Canutillo. This is behind the Tamale place there, close to Trans Mountain, and it's improving First Street. There's quite a bit of drainage improvements that are happening on this one as well. So this is going to help that neighborhood quite a bit. So that gives you a feel for where it is. This is a description of what it is. So we're reconstructing First Street from Talbot to West. So it includes everything you see there: pavement, curb, gutter, parkway, sidewalks, water line, sanitary line, and those are being paid for by El Paso Water, and we'll touch on that here in a second, and a drainage channel as well, and that's an important improvement to this area. So the role of the different parties, of course, the county is providing the construction funding for the roadway section. El Paso Water is providing the construction funding for the water components, that's water and wastewater. Then the RMA, we let the project, we oversaw the design, and now we're letting the project, and we'll provide the construction management services for the project. Here's the timeline. We first advertised back in March. Second advertisement was in April, and the bids were open in late April. So here we are on May 13th, asking for board approval to award and authorize the execution of the construction contract, which is part of your backup as well. So we think we could start this one as soon as June, and it's a pretty quick turnaround. We've got 6 months scheduled for this one, so we'll be done in winter of '27. Here are the bids. So you'll note this is a unique one because the engineer's probable cost of construction came in at $4.8 million. The low bidder came in at $2.5 million, so it was quite a difference. We spent quite a bit of time looking at those bids, reviewing the line items, reviewing for due diligence, all of those things that we do when a bid comes in low, and we are comfortable that this provider can provide these services for that price. We noticed that the biggest discrepancy between the engineer's probable cost of construction and the bids were material pricing around concrete and asphalt, and that's where the savings is going to be had.
Have we worked with this firm before?
We have not, but we spent some time talking to the county who has worked with them, with TxDOT who has worked with them, and we feel confident. They've
Okay.
shared some good stories with us about this provider. Yes, sir.
Question. I don't have any concerns about Allen because I've seen their work and they're good company. My concern is the savings on the asphalt and the concrete. I mean, with the price of binder and all of that, I don't know that, I think there's a lot of risk in that right now. And so if those are the busts and the engineer's estimate, what is the contingency in this project for continued increases in prices for asphalt or concrete?
Well, so the risk falls to the contractor in that scenario. Now, I will tell you that we do have because of the discrepancy between the amount that the county budgeted and the amount that we're actually allocating or awarding. We do have a healthier contingency in this one than we normally would have. But ultimately, that risk falls to the contractor once they sign this construction contract.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we had a number of conversations about this because a discrepancy between that estimate and that bid is pretty significant. So I was very worried as well. But our engineering team, and in fact, Mr. Fino's here if you'd like to ask any questions specifically of him. But they spent quite a bit of time talking to the contractor. I spoke with TxDOT and with the county.
Do they have guaranteed prices on the materials from the material supplier?
Edgar, do you know the answer to that? If they have guaranteed pricing?
Because the last time there were spikes in prices for materials like this, the material providers backed out and said, we're not providing it at that price. and that was region-wide.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members, Ed Grafino, Atkins Reales. So we don't have a warranty. There's a, the supplier has committed to keeping the prices as far as what they provided for the quote.
Yeah, but so that, as you know, that's typically the deal in a TxDOT bid also, right?
Right.
Asphalt is so much a ton, so much per cubic yard on concrete.
Right.
Then something happens, and then when it did happen, then everybody, they canceled those contracts, and a lot of work got canceled or slowed down significantly.
Correct,
And
correct.
it-
But
there's
yeah, there's no warranty in regards between the supplier and the contractor, but the contractor has a commitment from the supplier.
So what do we do? I mean, I don't want to be in a situation where we were like on another project. I mean, that had more extenuating circumstances, but I mean, cost escalation, inflation became a huge factor in that. So, I mean, so what happens if?
They
Well-
want the contractor to eat it, but if the contractor can't, then the project stops, just like JAR.
Yeah, and that's what I'm afraid of. I want to
So-
make sure that doesn't happen.
So that's right, but again, as I mentioned, and not that we would do this, but one option to look at is that the additional project funding that have been allocated for this project has been set aside. So that's why I mentioned earlier, the contingency amount that has been set aside for this project is much larger than we would normally carry.
So I'm also assuming that the next two closest, I mean, the outlier is really out there, but the next one is about 600,000. I mean, I'm assuming they've probably built some of that into theirs, maybe, or not.
Well, we didn't
You
talk
don't
to
know?
number two.
Okay.
We just compared their numbers in regards to the line item.
But you all are recommending that we go with this firm, that everything's.
Yes,
in-
we are based on our conversation, Atkins Reales with the contractor, and the RMA's conversation with TxDOT.
And the county's good?
Yes, they are, and well, yes, and so is El Paso Water.
Okay.
And so I will mention too, as part of this exercise, we touch bases with all of those other agencies to make sure that we're doing everything we're supposed to. And this is the process, right? So it's a low bid, and it gets a little.
When did it bid, Ray?
This one, if I could have the PowerPoint brought up, I can show you when this one bid. Yeah.
So they were open April 21, so things were happening at that time.
Well, if they submitted,
Matthew, could you get closer to your microphone?
so they
Thank you.
submitted on the 21st, the Iran war had started by then, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it started by the time, right around the time it was advertised, I think.
Yeah, the only thing I would add at this point is, if it starts to go sideways based on anything, I just don't want us to be in a JAR situation again, because this is exactly what happened. Even though the situation was different the last time material prices escalated, the last time the RMA got into a deal where a contractor couldn't provide the materials at a price that still made it profitable, the project stopped.
Yeah.
So we just need to be really aware of that in this.
I-
Even though this is a good contractor, we just need to really be
Hopefully
aware
they've
of
got
it.
capacity to eat it.
Yeah.
So I agree, and there's a couple of other differentiating factors, right? This project is much smaller than Pelicano and less complex, and it's scheduled to run in 6 months. So the majority of the work will be done actually very quickly. So as long as we can lock those prices, or I'm assuming they've locked those prices in, pull that material quickly, we can get this done very quickly and be done.
So if we award today, then and how long does it take to give them the notice to proceed? Pretty quickly?
Yes, ma'am. So you'll notice on this procurement, we are asking for authorization to negotiate and execute today. So
Okay.
we ought to be able to, I think in the timeline, we note that we're shooting for a possible start date in June.
Just make it clear to them to get their prices locked in, so we're not having to come back here and have another conversation.
I have a question.
Sure.
How long has this contractor been around? I mean, is he well-established, been there for,
Yeah,
okay.
they're good.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, they've done large projects, both at the county and TxDOT, apparently.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, so we have a motion
Second.
If I could, I'm sorry, just to be clear, there's a motion with quite a few.
for everything.
Yes, ma'am, for resolution, so,
The motion is for 4A through E.
as well as the award, yes, ma'am.
Is that everything, A through E?
Yes, ma'am.
The award,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, A, B, C, D, and E, so it's for everything.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the motion is for items 4A through E. Is it second? We have a second? Okay. So we have a motion and second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thanks for your answers to the questions. So then we'll move to item 5, discussion and action on board resolutions authorizing the execution of master agreements with the following firms for the RMA's 2025 or 2026?
That was the 2025.
2025 Deliverable Contracts Program.
Yes, ma'am.
A, CEA Engineering Group, Inc., B, HDR Engineering, Inc., C, GFT Infrastructure, Inc., and D, Consort Engineers, LLC.
Okay, as mentioned, this is for the 2025 program. That's when we put it out on the street, so that's the year that we run with. Ultimately, though, you may recall this has been before the board before as well, when you all shortlisted. So we had a number, I want to say maybe it was like in the teens. There were quite a number of engineering firms that were interested in this program this time. And we shortlisted it down to 4. We've been negotiating those agreements. And before you, you've got 5B, C, and D, which are part of your backup. So those have been fully negotiated and are ready for execution. 5A, I'm still negotiating. There's a couple of provisions that we're playing with, but I am asking for authorization to execute, subject to an agreed upon negotiation with CEA Engineering. But happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, as a reminder, this is the program where we pull design firms as needed. And so we're looking forward to starting a new round.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and second. Any discussion? I have a quick question. The points in the negotiations with 5A, they're not like major, are they?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
All right, then, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 6, presentation, discussion, and action on change orders requiring board approval or that were recently approved by the executive director for the Pelicano Drive widening and Fabens Airport hangar expansion projects.
Okay, we've got a PowerPoint for you on this one as well. This is the usual PowerPoint, but a little bit tweaked a little bit. So we do have 2 change orders that I've approved that are under the authorization noted there in the first paragraph. We've got 1 change order that was previously approved by the board, and I'll mention that one, and then 1 change order that requires board action as it exceeds the amounts identified in that first paragraph. So Fabens Airport hangar, as you know, we've had quite a few change orders on this one, and we have a couple more today. So that number 21 has actually been signed. That was board approved, as you may recall. That was the new entry signage that was rolled in as a change order. That's been approved and executed. And so number 22 and number 23 are the new ones that I recently signed earlier this week. We've got paint that needs to be applied that's fire protection rated. That's for an additional $23,000. And then we've got some digital meters as well that are being added for $1,400. And then the next one deals with the fuel farm project. Excuse me. This is the one that we talked about earlier that you've already approved, and that was a deductive change order in the total amount of $385,000. And so this is just part of the reporting requirements that I've got with change orders. Then the last one, this is going to require some action on your part, and this deals with the Pelicano project, specifically Phase 1. This is the first change order that we're ready to bring forward. As you notice, there were 8 prior that are still under negotiation. The majority of those are actually deductive change orders to remove scope, and we'll bring those to you in time and provide all the backup when those are ready. However, so this first one, though, is an increase, and this relates to additional excavation that was not anticipated by the original design plans, and that totals a little over $100,000. So because it is in excess of the board resolution that authorizes me to execute up to $100,000, we're asking for board authorization from you all. And I can get into more detail if you'd like. I do have a PowerPoint on the next item as requested by the board to brief you all on Pelicano, so we can discuss it in more detail. But I would ask for a motion to approve a board resolution approving change order number 1 for Pelicano. Yes, sir.
So as we were talking about just a few minutes ago with the Fort Bliss stuff, there are some impacts that I didn't really think about previously with the airport project and the Pelicano project that may want to be engaged with Garrison at Fort Bliss. One is 1st Armored Division and the units at Fort Bliss use the Fabens Airport for training and stuff, so we want to make sure that we're still able to meet some of the needs that they've got when they utilize those locations. And then the Pelicano widening as well, making sure that it kind of meets the needs of Fort Bliss for the commute onto Fort Bliss.
Okay.
So it's just a couple other things to discuss. I'm going to set you up a meeting.
Yes,
with
sir. Yeah, I think it's a
Garrison
great
Commander,
idea.
But it would be really good to have a discussion on those items.
Yeah, happy to do it.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve the change order on Pelicano.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And then moving on to item 7, update and status of the Pelicano Drive widening project.
Okay, we've got another PowerPoint for you for this one. As requested in last month's board meeting, the board was interested in getting an updated. I think it had been a few months since we've spoken about this particular project. So I'm going to go through this. This is part of your backup as well. We'll go through some general background. And Ms. Avalos, feel free to give me a call if you'd like a more in-depth briefing. We do have a PowerPoint that we shared with the board before that really goes into the history on this one, because there is quite a bit. So feel free to let me know if you're interested in that. We'll talk about phase 1, phase 2, and the bankruptcy proceedings. Of course, stop me along the way if you have any questions. Here's the location to orient you. On the left side in yellow is Loop 375. On the right side is Darrington. So roughly 3 miles of roadway for this particular project, and it includes the scope that you see there. It was intended to be a 6-lane divided roadway with all the amenities that you see there. Back in May of 2025, just by way of background, as you know, we brought on JAR Construction to complete this project. We defaulted them. They eventually went into bankruptcy. Through the bankruptcy process, a trustee was assigned to the bankrupt estate, and so you'll hear about the trustee. You'll also hear about the surety, who was the entity that we required JAR to bring on board to provide the performance bond. So if and when a contractor goes underwater, the performance bond surety provider is supposed to step into the shoes of that contractor and complete the project. So in this case, because the bankruptcy is ongoing, the surety has said that their responsibility has not yet been triggered. So that's the in a nutshell, that's the issue. However, in May of 25, we spoke with the surety about figuring out ways to advance the project. And what we came up with was what was referred to at that point as the interim fix. Essentially, we agreed to advance the completion of the project roughly from Loop 375 to Air Coop and complete that roadway. That's the most important part of that roadway. That's where the majority of the residents, the school is, and the businesses as of the time of this project. So that's why it was so important. We called that the interim fix, and it eventually became phase 1. As part of that agreement, the county provided $6 million to help us complete that project. We would then utilize TxDOT funding for the rest. So that's the current program, phase 1. Everything else, so meaning what the original contractor completed, and then phase 1, you take that out of it. Everything that's left from the original design plans that's not been completed, that is considered phase 2. And so we're going to talk about each of those segments here. So as you see here on this graphic, this is a graphic we've shown quite a few times. It shows you essentially what was completed through 25 by the original contractor. So what's of note is the blue color. In blue, that means that's completed concrete. And so as you can see where the blue ends roughly at Air Coop, our goal with phase 1 was to complete all of that, right? So eastbound, the bottom section, and westbound, we wanted to complete all of that in blue. But again, this is what it looked like in 2025. This is what we are intending to do with phase 1. So you'll see all of the blue in heading eastbound, which is the bottom portion, will be complete. You'll see that little triangle in dark blue. That's essentially a transition that would connect the existing black roadway, which is the existing Pelicano, to the westbound in purple. So we're, again, to summarize, blue we would complete, the blue, dark blue triangle, the transition we would complete, and then we would complete the purple up on the top side, which would allow drivers to get from Air Coupe back to 375. So that's essentially phase one. So we designed that, we provided that to the surety company, and the surety company engaged Hawk Construction, a local construction firm, to complete those activities. And that's what's underway now. So we are roughly 53% complete with phase one. Things are going really well. So what you see here is a look from roughly from the 375 area heading east. So all of that roadway is now underway. You'll see some construction activity that needs to happen there in the bottom left corner. That's right there, getting close to the intersection with 375. So all of that is new work that's being done. Here's a night view, which I think is a good one because it shows how we've now transitioned. This is a fairly recent photo where we've transitioned westbound traffic onto the westbound lanes close to 375. So those lights that you see up at the top are of the Circle K, that's at 375. So now you can see us shifting lanes, shifting drivers over to Pelicano close to 375. So that's been a big improvement. And actually going back here, once the construction crew right now is working on that segment down in the bottom left-hand corner. Once they complete that, heading towards 375, then we'll actually be able to push traffic onto those lanes that you see there, further down to that little median cutout that you see in the center down the way. So we're really excited about that. We think that could be done in the next few weeks. So we'll have a major portion of the westbound segment complete, we think, in the next few weeks. So we're very excited about that. Again, this is current situation. And so that's what's happening out there. Again, roughly 52% complete, but contractors making some good time. We're looking forward to them completing phase one. So on to phase two then, as I mentioned, it includes everything that was not completed by the original contractor and not part of phase one. Those design plans are 100% complete. They've been provided to the surety company. The surety company is currently reviewing those plans. In fact, it was just part of our weekly meeting discussions yesterday. So they are reviewing those, they've shared that also with the contractor, and they are putting numbers to the phase two design plans. And at that point, which was part of the interim fix, the idea was once we put numbers to phase two, then the surety would know their total exposure. They would know exactly how much this could cost them. At that point, then we would all be ready to sit down and negotiate and figure out how to move forward. So that's the intent. Once they're done reviewing the plans, putting the numbers to it, then we'll all get together, or the RMA will get together with the surety and try to negotiate the way forward. That's the intent. Yes, sir.
What can you tell us about, or can you tell us anything about the pricing that came in relative to the amount of budget that was left in the project?
As you can imagine, it's significantly higher. Phase two, the opinion of probable construction cost was, I want to say, somewhere in the $30 million range. Now
For phase two?
Phase two only, that's right.
3-0. The original
3-0.
bid was like 27 for everything,
It
right?
was in the 22. Yes, it's significant. Now, so part of the exercise is for the sureties, engineers, and our engineers to review that and make sure that everything is within reason, right? So that's happening now.
But CEA did the phase two review, right?
Correct.
Developed the plans. CEA said this is a $30 million project.
Correct. But
They're not going to be that far. They're not going to be that far off. So it's going to be in the ballpark of a $30 million phase two.
well, we
Even
don't
if
know.
they work it down a little.
We don't know, right? So I hear what you're saying, and that makes sense, right? But I can point to the award that we just talked about earlier, right? So we had an estimate of 4.5 million. The bids came in at 2.
Probably isn't allowed, but I'll bet you a dinner on it that it stays around 30 million.
Well, listen, I'm trying to stay optimistic, but joking aside, I recognize your point. And when we saw that number, we were alarmed as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we were alarmed as well, and as the surety was as well. So that's why they're spending some more
It's their
time.
fault for dragging this thing out. They could have gotten better pricing a long time ago.
And that comment has been made to them more than once. But they're reviewing it, we're reviewing it, then we'll sit down and see what the options are. at that
Are they on the hook for sure?
point. We believe so. That
We're going to litigate this with them?
We're trying not to. That's the point of this exercise, to come together to avoid litigation. And they recognize the cost of that, the time, and everything.
Just so I understand, the CEA estimate was 30 million-ish, right? The amount remaining was how much?
Well, so the original bid was, I want to say 22 million. We spent about 11. So that left 11 million of TxDOT funds. And then we added 6 million from the county, so we have 17 million. So we're starting to pull that down. You know, rather than guess, let me play with those numbers and let me get you something.
Let me put it this way. There's going to be a big number in the ballpark of $30 million. The surety, we don't want any more delays, given that it's a big number. I think that we should discuss this item again, probably in executive session, next meeting, to put together a strategy for when I believe the surety will try to delay again to not pay the $30 million. And I think it needs to include all of I have a number of ideas that I think we could begin to use to push the surety to pay for it, because if they start balking on $30 million, the whole community has to wait again for that project to get finished.
Understood. And we do intend to be back before you with an executive session item next month, because those numbers are being reviewed now. So I should have something to share with you next month. Yes, ma'am.
How long is the review going to take, do you think?
Probably a couple of weeks more.
Okay.
Yeah, is the feeling I got from speaking with the surety. I spoke with them late last week.
And then just for the item that you're going to put on, if you could just give us the full amount, like they came to 30 million or 27 million, here's what's left, here's what the surety is on the hook for.
Yes, sir.
What we believe the surety's on the hook for.
Yeah, and we'll break down the TxDOT dollars that are available and that sort of thing as well. Yes, sir. So that's phase 2. And so as you remember, there's also the bankruptcy piece. So the bankruptcy piece is the estate of the JAR construction contract company. As you know, we received a ruling in our favor after several hearings back in April of 25. The bankruptcy trustees I mentioned that took over the estate, they have appealed that ruling to the district court. The district court asked us if we wanted to try to mediate this. I ended up talking to the trustee at length, trying to figure out if there was a way for us to settle this, and there is not. They are way above what we think is a realistic settlement amount. So we shared that with the court, and so the court is reviewing all of those documents, and we are pending a ruling from the court at this time. And so that's what I have for you on the bankruptcy and the rest of the project. Happy to answer any questions, but otherwise, as you mentioned, we will be back next month with an executive session item. Yes, ma'am.
Which district court?
Turn the
Since you're expecting a ruling from the district court, which district court is it?
I want to say it's Cardone, I believe. I'll confirm that,
So
though.
we're in federal court.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, because, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that. Since this is a bankruptcy proceeding, the
Everything's-
appeal goes through the federal system.
And then when do you expect the ruling?
There's no telling. It's entirely up to the court. And it's been, as you can see, it's already been quite some time.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other comments or questions?
Just, my only comment would be is we should start preparing next meeting for what the strategy is going to be to not let that project stall out.
I agree. I mean, I think they need to know early on that we're not going to mess around with them anymore, because,
Those contingency plans ahead of time
yeah.
versus trying to react.
Okay, so is there any executive session items for this meeting?
No, ma'am.
Any other business?
No, ma'am. That's all I have for you.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So I have a motion.
Second.
So I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting's adjourned. The time is 9:37 a.m. Thank you, everyone. Good meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.